going through Iran from Tabriz, Tehran, Mashhad. In Mashhad, I studied Islam under a Islamic scholar. While I was in Italy, I was studying Christianity with Christian monks and priests. And I was going deeper into Judaism as well. And then I entered into Afghanistan. Hitchhiking from Herat to Kandahar to Kabul. That was an extremely life-changing adventure. I'd like to share just one incident among many. In Kandahar, one night, I was sitting with about 5 other really, really poor Afghani people. In those days, every traveler, because there was like a counterculture of world travelers who had no money, and we kind of all knew each other, just meeting each other from place to place. And everyone remarked how friendly and kind the people of Afghanistan was. This is before the Russians invaded and before all the chaos. I learned a lot, an incredible lesson from a mongoose that slept in my long hair as a nest one night. You could read the book if you want to find out about that. But one evening, I was sitting in a little shack, which was a tea stall, with about 5 men just crouched down on the dirt floor, drinking tea. And this boy, about 16 years old, came in. He was holding just a little branch from a tree. On one side was a rusty nail with a tin can on it. And across the tin can was a wire that was nailed to one side and then nailed on the other side. And it was a musical instrument. He thumped it, going boom, 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 like that. He was emaciated thin, wearing torn, filthy rags. But what really made my heart quake was he is blind. His eyes were swollen, disfigured, and discolored. And I had never seen the uncovered eyes of a blind man. That it just looked so grotesque. He practically had no teeth. As he plunked his instrument, drong, 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 he sang. He sang his love for God, Allah. As he was singing, the smile on his face, the tears coming from those eyes. He had a supernatural joy that lit up the entire little room. And all of us were mesmerized. We couldn't leave as he was singing. I didn't know what he was saying, but I could feel his love for God. And I remember thinking at that time, I have never in my life met anyone that looked so happy as this boy. And this was a serious culture shock for a suburban American boy. Because I was taught my whole life that if you have good health, and you have a good education, and you have wealth and prestige, you'll be happy. This boy had none of that. But he was happier than anyone I ever had seen in my life, because he was tasting the sweetness of devotion to the Lord within his heart. And he was radiating and spreading the sweetness of his joy to anyone who came around him. That was a culture shock. That was very transformative on my journey. Eventually, the Indian border. I had so many diseases on the way. I had so many life-threatening experiences, so many incredible experiences. I really felt that I had aged about 30 years in that 6 months. And here I was, finally, just a few meters away from India. All that was between me was an immigration agent.